22 years from its inception, we are thriving and we have gained relevance as an agency in the Philippine government. We attribute our achievements to the hardworking men and women of the Philippine Coast Guard, the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary, to our partners in the national and local government, private sectors, as well as civil society organizations that incessantly provided support to our organization through the years, among them the Office of the President. Today, I am proud to report to our President and to the nation that for the past year alone, our united efforts has resulted to saving thousands of people in distress situation. And we have intensified our presence in critical parts of our country to better guard our maritime territory. For the past 12 months, the leadership of President Marcos Jr. has been an inspiration and served as the driving force behind the Philippine Coast Guard's successful missions. The President's pronouncements on various maritime issues have been our steady compass and rallying call to serve our country with utmost dedication. Recent events in the West Philippine Sea have once again propelled the Philippine Coast Guard into the national and international spotlight. We have stood our ground in the face of adversity. We handled positively the provocations, bullying, and harassments of vessels on every resupply mission to the Philippine Navy's BRP Sierra Madre at Ayungin Shoal. We have intensified our maritime security operations in our waters. Our personnel have courageously dismantled the foreign floating barriers which were illegally installed in the West Philippine Sea. We installed additional navigational buoys which also serve as markers of Philippine territory. Despite the great danger of operating in the West Philippine Sea, we continue to fulfill our mission of ensuring our country will not let go even a square inch of its territory to any foreign power. In addition to the West Philippine Sea, the Philippine Coast Guard looks after the country's 37,000 kilometer stretch of coastlines. For the past year alone, the Philippine Coast Guard has responded to over 500 major maritime incidents. With our improved, inevitably pay the ultimate sacrifice. Last July 2023, 4 PCG personnel risked their own lives to rescue 7 crew on board a tugboat in distress at the vicinity waters of Apari, Cagayan during the onslaught of Super Typhoon Egay. 7 crew on board a tugboat in distress during the onslaught of Super Typhoon Egay. The team has successfully rescued the 7 crew members who safely returned to their families. Unfortunately, 4 PCG rescuers did not make it, and until now, they are still missing. Another Coast Guard operations Space Life in an operation to locate a missing person in Lubao, La Union, last 5 September 2023. We will forever honor the memories of Petty Officer 3rd Class Ponciano Nesperos while we continue to hope as we search for Seaman First J. Benjan Domingo, Apprentice Seaman Lester Renz Campo, Apprentice Seaman Rodel Garado, and Apprentice Seaman John Lloyd Ribamonhan. In addition to our life-saving missions, We also have intensified our response to maritime environmental threats. The Philippine Coast Guard's pollution control capabilities were put to test with the unfortunate sinking of the vessel MT Princess Empress off the coast of Mindoro. The incident resulted in the spilling of over 800,000 liters of fuel oil in that vicinity of Nauhan Oriental, Mindoro. For 5 months since the incident, the Philippine Coast Guard conducted non-stop oil spill recovery and cleanup operations to mitigate the impact of the oil spill. Unity and harmony again was proven essential as Coast Guard counterparts from the United States of America, Japan, and Korea extended assistance to the Philippine Coast Guard in the form of technical expertise, manpower, and resources in our race against time to contain the oil spill. All these accomplishments through our continuous efforts to improve our ranks. The Philippine Coast Guard is currently 30,000 strong and counting. As our number is expanding, so does our competency through the conduct of continuous training, education, and capacity building assistance from our foreign allies and friends. With our exponential increase in number of personnel, the country can expect better performance from the Philippine Coast Guard in the coming years. By our standards, 2023 is shaping up to be one of the most outstanding periods for the organization. The Philippine Coast Guard has performed its best in our main functions of maritime safety, maritime search and rescue, marine environmental protection, maritime security, and law enforcement. But despite of our strict implementation of preventive measures, still the occurrences of maritime incidents are inevitable. The Philippine Coast Guard's Search and Rescue Program aims to mitigate loss of life and property arising from both man-made and natural disasters at sea. We have responded to a total of 1,337 reported maritime incidents, which resulted to the successful rescue of 5,574 lives. As part of our maritime security operations, the Philippine Coast Guard conducts routine patrols throughout the country's waters. As of our last counting, the Philippine Coast Guard has conducted 20,898 seaborne missions and 154,774 shore patrols. The Philippine Coast Guard's maritime law enforcement activities, in cooperation with the Philippine National Police and the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, successfully halted 268 illegal maritime activities. The Philippine Coast Guard has also actively collaborated and assisted the Department of Agriculture, the Bureau of Customs, and other agencies in the fight against illegal importation of agricultural products that resulted to the confiscation of 2.3 billion worth of agricultural products. Finally, through our intensified marine environmental protection program, the Philippine Coast Guard has conducted a total of 6,389 inspections of foreign and domestic vessels traveling within our waters, as well as 184 shore-based facility inspections. All this resulted in the apprehension of 61 violators of marine environmental protection laws. The foregoing numbers are testaments that the Philippine Coast Guard has been busy, active, and visible all year round, and has reintroduced itself in the consciousness of Filipinos as an agency that delivers and fulfill its mandates. We are committing ourselves to continue making our country proud for the years to come, and we will continue to be the symbol of hope and a source of national pride for Filipinos. Together, we can achieve great things. We will continue to sail together as one. In unity, we create harmony, and in harmony, we deliver excellent, compassionate, and dedicated public service to our fellow Filipinos. Thank you, Mr. President, for continually inspiring and supporting your Coast Guard and our great nation. Our snappy salute to you. Mabuhay po kayo. Mabuhay ang tanod baybayin ng Pilipinas at mabuhay ang sambayanang Pilipino. Bago ko tapusin, hayaan niyong batiin namin kayo ng isang magandang hapong muli from your Coast Guardians. Coast Guard.
Thank you once again, Admiral Abu, sir. Let's give him a big, big round of applause. And now, to give due recognition to our awardees, may we request the President, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., to lead the awarding for this year's awardees. He will be assisted by the Transportation Secretary, Jaime J. Bautista, Special Assistant to the President's Secretary, Antonio Lagdameo Jr., Representative Ferdinand Alexander Marcos, and the Commandant of the Philippine Coast Guard, Admiral Artemio Manalo Abu. For the first award, the Coast Guard Distinguished Service Medal and Ribbon is hereby awarded to Coast Guard Commodore J.T. Tariela. He is accompanied by his lovely lady. For demonstrating distinguished and commendable competency, courage, and patriotism as the advisor to the Commandant on Maritime Security Affairs and the PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea. And for the publication of factual narratives on the issues and concerns, and for release of compelling images, thus igniting the Filipino sense of patriotism.
Distinguished Guard Cross Medal and Ribbon is hereby awarded to Coast Guard Petty Officer 3rd Class Jason S. Nicol for meritorious courage, bravery, and patriotism in the face of danger that resulted in the success of cutting the rope barriers by the Chinese Coast Guard at the southeast entrance of Bajo de Masinloc.
The Distinguished Coast Guard Cross Medal and Ribbon is hereby awarded to Coast Guard Seaman 1st Class Joseph P. Rivera for meritorious courage, bravery, and patriotism in the face of danger that resulted in the successful cutting of the rope barriers by the Chinese Coast Guard at the southeast entrance of Bajo de Masinloc.
Distinguished Coast Guard Cross Medal and Ribbon is hereby awarded to BRP Malapascua, MRRV 4403. To receive the award is Coast Guard Captain Rodel B. Hernandez. The meritorious courage, bravery, and patriotism in the face of danger that resulted in the success of Coast Guard operations in the West Philippine Sea.
The Distinguished Coast Guard Cross Medal and Ribbon is hereby awarded to BRP Malabrigo, MRRV 4402. To receive the award is Coast Guard Commander Julio Escolarina for meritorious courage, bravery, and patriotism in the face of danger that resulted in the success of Coast Guard operations, even encountering the water cannons by the Chinese Coast Guard in the West Philippine Sea.
For having been adjudged as the Coast Guard District of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby awarded to Coast Guard District Palawan. To receive the award is Coast Guard Captain Dennis Rem C. Labay. Coast Guard District Palawan is at the forefront of the PCG's maritime security operations at the West Philippine Sea.
For having been adjudged as a Coast Guard Station of the Year Class Alpha, the plaque of recognition is hereby awarded to Coast Guard Station Manila To receive the award is Coast Guard Captain Jerome Y. Lozada.
For having been adjudged as the Coast Guard Station of the Year Class Bravo, the plaque of recognition is hereby awarded to Coast Guard Station Malacanang. To receive the award is Coast Guard Commander Jomel Q. Panes.
For having been adjudged as a Station of the Year Class Star, the plaque of recognition is hereby awarded to Coast Guard Station Sorsogon. To receive the award is Coast Guard Commander Christian F. Hasmi.
For having been adjudged as the Coast Guard Substation of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby awarded to Coast Guard Substation Tanza. To receive the award is Coast Guard Petty Officer First Class Jason A. Roflo.
For having been adjudged as the PCG Non-Officer of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby awarded to Coast Guard Petty Officer First Class Ronald B. Empeñado.
For having been adjudged as the PCG Non-Uniformed Personnel of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby awarded to Mrs. Gloria G. Ricafrente. To receive the award on her behalf is Coast Guard Commodore Algier D. Ricafrente. Mrs. Gloria Ricafrente served as a psychometrician of the command. Sadly, she passed away on October 9, 2023.
And last but not least, for having been adjudged as a Coast Guard Lighthouse Keeper of the Year, the plaque of recognition is hereby awarded to Mr. Antonio R. Beruela. Congratulations to our awardees. And thank you, Mr. President. Let's give them a big, big round of applause. At this juncture, may we request the Transportation Secretary, Jaime J. Bautista, to formally introduce our distinguished guest of honor and speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Thank you to our Transportation Secretary, Secretary Jimmy Bautista. Oh, please take your seats. The excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, who I see are here today, all present and correct. Also, I'd like to greet a great supporter of our men in uniform, the Philippine Coast Guard Commandant, Admiral Artemio Abu, the officers, enlisted personnel, and relations, fellow workers in government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Today, we celebrate the rich legacy of the 122nd founding anniversary. It is a good time to congratulate the gallant men and women of our Tanod Baybayin for reaching another milestone in the long and illustrious service of our Coast Guard. Let me first offer my profound appreciation on behalf of a grateful nation to the PCG for providing steadfast service and dedication to duty during times of calamity, for upholding our country's maritime security and promoting our maritime rights, for fighting against the entry of smuggled goods, for protecting our marine environment, and for securing the safety of our fisherfolk as they pursue their means of livelihood. Your integrity, your discipline, and professionalism in the performance of your mandate have helped us further our collective vision of a stronger, more harmonious, and more resilient Philippines. The Philippine Coast Guard remains steadfast in assuming a pivotal role in our continued promotion and protection of our country's sovereignty, sovereign rights and jurisdiction, and in being at the forefront of our efforts to ensure that our fishers and their fishing rights are respected and recognized throughout our vast maritime areas. All these efforts by the Philippine Coast Guard, while spearheading our marine environment protection and conservation efforts and ensuring the safety and welfare of all those who ply our waters, are deeply appreciated. Suffice to say, your accomplishments in the performance of your duty have consistently championed our country and our people's rights and welfare in the face of daunting adversity and difficulties. Despite all the challenges, the Coast Guard has unwaveringly answered the call of duty. For all of these, and for more, I thank you. As we embark on a new chapter, I enjoin all of you to continue to work closely with other concerned agencies as you perform this extremely valuable and important mandate. Be assured that this administration firmly stands with you in your plans and efforts to improve, expand, and modernize the capabilities and services so that you may better contribute to the security and welfare of our people and of the nation. Together, let us consolidate and harness our strengths to ensure that every Filipino can reap the gains of our endeavors as well as lead more productive and dignified lives. Let us sail together in unity and harmony towards a more empowered, progressive, and sustainable future. Once again, congratulations to the Philippine Coast Guard on your 122nd founding anniversary. Mabuhay ang tanod baybayin ng Pilipinas. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Mr. President. May we request our President to remain on stage to receive the humble memento to be given by the Transportation Secretary, Jaime J. Bautista, to be assisted by the Special Assistant to the President, Secretary Antonio Lagdameo Jr., Representative Ferdinand Alexander Marcos, and the Commandant of the Philippine Coast Guard, Coast Guard Admiral Artemio Manalo Abu.
Presented to the President is the Dynacast and Dynamic Shipyard High-Speed Boat from Cebu. This is a token of gratitude for the President for gracing the 122nd PCG anniversary. It also symbolizes the modernization efforts of the PCG under the President's administration.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you, Mr. President. At this point, may we request the President to kindly grant us a photo opportunity. First, may we request the President, together with the awardees, back on stage. For the rest of the audience, you may now take your seats. Our second group for the photo opportunity, please prepare. Thank you. You may now exit to your right. And now for the second group will be the senior leadership of the Philippine Coast Guard.
Thank you. Please exit to your right. Next, may we call on stage the personnel and crew of BRP Malabrigo. Thank you. Please exit to your right. And finally, may we call on stage the members of the Diplomatic Corps.
Thank you. You may now exit to your right. Thank you, Mr. President. And that concludes our photo opportunity. And that ends our program. To everyone, thank you very much and happy 122nd anniversary to the Philippine Coast Guard. Mabuhay tayong lahat at mabuhay ang tanod baybayin ng Pilipinas.